There are 3 rune tablets throughout the world of Lords of the Fallen that allows you to unlock rune smithing from Girlinde and or help free Sparky, really depending on what you do when you find all 3 of these tablets. I'm going to quickly show you where you can find the tablets and the outcome of the questline. Let's get into it. Now, of course, before you can even start looking for these rune tablets, you have to unlock Girlinde, which can be found inside of Pilgrim's Perch. As you progress through the main storyline, she'll be in a cage, and you'll hear her going through making bells and complaining about it. She's very easy to find in the game. But now that you've freed her and she is now at Skyrest Bridge making weapons and armor, let's get into these rune tablet locations. And thankfully, the first rune tablet can be found fairly early on in the game inside of Fitzroy's Gorge. Now, inside this location, you're going to come across a lot of dogs and a lot of archers, so be prepared for that. As I'm going through this pathing, it's the main pathing that you have to go through to actually get through this area. It makes it very simple. But come to this giant open area, a giant hole in the wall, really. Climb down these different ladders, and you're going to find your first tablet, which is going to be the cracked rune tablet. Now, for the second location, we're actually going to be moving to the mines area, or lower Calrath, in a certain way. It's kind of a transition point. This will be after you defeat the lower Calrath boss, which is one of the main bosses inside of the game. You'll recognize them because it was also the boss inside the trailer, but nonetheless, you'll be going through the same pathing after you defeat this boss too. You get to this house in particular that has a sign out front that I was showing you before. Make your way inside of this house. Inside of the Umbral Realm, you'll see this actual scouring, which you can get Umbral scourings from, but behind this vestige, just kind of memory, inside the fireplace is where you're going to find your second rune tablet, which is going to be the chipped rune tablet. And the third rune tablet will be found about midway through the playthrough that you're going through when you're finding all these tablets, I would say. You're going to make your way over to the Tower of Penance, which is going to be after the Hallowed Brothers locations inside of the Abbey, before you get to the Sisters Abbey, if that helps at all. When you get to the Tower of Penance, you'll make your way down the several levels until you get to this first kind of circular area with a bunch of grates below you. This is the floor where you'll actually be able to find this chest in one of the corners that has the final rune tablet that you need inside of it, which is just labeled the rune tablet. And now that you have all 3 of the different rune tablets, about time to start thinking who you want to actually give these rune tablets to, because you have the choice between Girlinde and Sparky. When you make your way back with all 3 rune tablets to the smithing area with Girlinde, you turn in 2 of the tablets first to her, and then she'll start going through a bunch of dialogue describing what's going on and kind of what you get out of it at the same time. Sparky will talk about his kind of story, where he's come from, his moral obligations, all that. They're giving you backstories as you turn in all these different tablets. But before you turn in the third and final tablet, they will actually give you an option of why you should give them their particular tablet. Now, this is where it's really going to start becoming either moral or more beneficial to the player, depending on how you want to go about this questline. What I mean by this is that freeing Sparky is essentially one of the options if you give him the final tablet, and the other is that if you give the tablet to Girlinde, she essentially kills Sparky to give you a rune that is actually very powerful. Now, here are the pros and cons of each side. So if you give the thing to Sparky, you're actually going to be able to get the Travels Resumed achievement, and at Vestige Point, you can upgrade your weapons and socket runes at the same time. But the downfall of this is that everything in Girlinde's shop, weapons, upgrades, everything is going to be a lot more expensive. And in some cases, thousands more vigor expensive. And on the flip side, if you give Girlinde the actual tablet, you're going to have the Crafter's Essence rune when you come back to her after you rest. Sparky will unfortunately be gone, as he is used to make this rune, but at the same time, you're not going to have all the prices skyrocket to another level if you give the rune to Sparky. So there's a lot of contrast in these 2 different options, and it's not an easy one. No matter what you pick, Sparky does end up leaving for one reason or another. And if you do pick Girlinde to have the final rune tablet, this is the actual rune that she gives you called the Crafter's Essence, as I just mentioned before. It makes all of your stats, depending on whether you put it in a shield or a weapon, makes all the weapon weight and stat requirement to use them back down to 0, which is very strong, especially if you want to use a very particular weapon. But thankfully, no matter what ending you do end up picking, you can now use runes inside your weapons, aka rune smithing. So depending on which ending you do pick, these can be a lot more expensive than what I'm showing you here, because I picked the Girlinde ending for this video. And no matter what ending you do decide to go with, this is how you can unlock rune smithing and complete this side quest with Girlinde and Sparky. So I hope you guys did find this location guide and questline walkthrough very helpful. If you did, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you guys in the next video.